turn back now to coronavirus. Students at Tulane University in New Orleans, who host parties for more than 15 people, now risk being expelled. An email Tuesday obtained by NOLA.com from the Dean of Students chastised students for hosting large off-campus parties over the 4th of July weekend, included this stern warning: do not host parties or gatherings with more than 15 people, including the host. Tulane Dean of Students Erica Woodley wrote this in all capital letters in a mass email. Quote, if you do, you will face suspension or expulsion from the university. According to the email, students hosted large gatherings without masks or social distancing over the holiday weekend, then posted them on social media. The gatherings drew attention from neighbors. Woodley closed her email with, do you really want to be the reason that Tulane and New Orleans have to shut down again? The warning comes as Louisiana again is seeing infections trend upward. And in Florida, state health officials say more than 40 hospitals have either maxed out of their ICU capacity or are close to running out of ICU beds. Joining us now, Democratic Congresswoman Debbie Mucarsel Powell of Florida. She's a member of the House Judiciary Committee. Congresswoman, it's great to have you with us this morning. As you're well aware, the cases are spiking in your state. What's behind it?
Look, Florida is breaking all the wrong records. We, unfortunately, have passed more than 200,000 positive cases here in the state of Florida. Miami-Dade County is now the epicenter with more than 50,000 positive cases. The truth is that we opened too soon. We went from phase 1 to phase 2 without really waiting that 28-day period to see a consistent drop in positive cases. We have failed at every level. The governor and the county mayor had a press conference yesterday. It was the incompetent leading the incompetent, looking at each other, not being able to answer basic questions. And we know what we need to do. We have been through this pandemic now for a few months. We need to expand testing without any restrictions. We need to make sure that we have enough contact tracers. Right now in the state of Florida, originally we needed about 7,000. We haven't even reached the 2,000 threshold. And now it was reported that we may need over 10,000 contact tracers, because the more positivity rates, the more contact tracing. And then we need to quarantine those positive cases. And not just myself, but other congressional delegates here in Florida have asked the governor to put a mask order in place for the entire state of Florida.
Congresswoman Maya Wiley has a question for you. Maya?
Good morning, Maya.
Thank you. And thank you, Congresswoman. I'm curious, as the president is demanding that schools reopen, how you're approaching that and what you're hearing from parents, because you're completely right about test, trace, treat. In context of school and with teachers concerned and with parents concerned, what's the balance there and how are you seeing that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Maya. I'm also a mother. I have an 11-year-old, a 15-year-old, and it is one of the most complicated questions that we are facing as leaders, and also the superintendent here of Miami-Dade Public County School. What he has said, and he had a conference as well yesterday, is that the way that things are looking right now currently in Miami-Dade County, as we see the rise in cases over 20% positivity rate, it's a very dangerous proposition to open schools, because it's not just the children that need to be going to school, but it's all the teachers, the administrators. Parents are not feeling comfortable to send their kids to school. It's a necessity. We do know that for their social and emotional learning, it is extremely important for kids to be able to socialize with one another, to be able to get that instruction in their classroom. But at this point, Maya, unfortunately, because of the lack of leadership, because of the incompetence of our county leader here, the mayor, and the governor, we are in a situation where it may be too dangerous to open schools in August. So one of the things that we have been discussing is possibly pushing that date start a little further into September.
Jonathan Lemire has a question for you. Jonathan?
Congresswoman, as you note, there's real debate whether or not schools can even open. But at about a month and a half from now, there's another event scheduled for your home state. The Republican National Convention is set to be in late August in Jacksonville. The president yesterday in an interview, acknowledged that cases are rising there. It's a bit of a hot spot, he said. They might have to be, quote, flexible in terms of the convention, but he didn't give any details as to what that could mean. But we know that he is hoping for a robust, multi-day convention, one similar to what he saw in 2016 in Cleveland. Talk to us about that possibility. Do you see any scenario where that could happen? And if the president does insist upon having a convention, and other lawmakers in Florida, what can you do about it?
Look, what we have seen from this president, and unfortunately now the governor, is that they have abandoned their responsibility of protecting American lives. The governor has put the Floridian lives in danger. And as you're asking this question, I'm thinking, you're saying, what flexibility can we have? Well, this virus is not flexible. This virus doesn't really have any borders. It doesn't really have any bias on which host it's going to attack. So at this point, in the situation that we're in here in the state of Florida, we should not be having any large gathering indoors. The president only cares about his political campaign of scoring political points. You know, he's coming to Miami-Dade County at a moment when we have to be laser focused on containing the spread of virus. He's taking away resources from Miami-Dade County because he wants to come and have another political visit into the state of Florida. All he's thinking about is his reelection campaign. And what he needs to be thinking about is protecting American lives. And I think it's extremely dangerous and ruthless for this governor to even continue to discuss the idea of having an indoor rally for President Donald Trump here in Jacksonville.
Congresswoman Debbie Mucarsel-Powell of Florida, wishing you all the best in grappling with this down there. Thanks for your time this morning. We appreciate it. And that does it for us this morning. We'll be right back here tomorrow morning. Chris Jansing picks up the coverage after a break.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.